here. Yeah, so let's just connect that to a question from Susan Speakman. We'll just connect that whole Trump support in Hollywood to Susan's got a question about the whole Trump campaign. And she asks, welcome back. Thank you. Good to be back. I hope you had fun in Vegas. Here's my question. Will a Trump presidency actually be a good thing? Most of the voters hate him, even those who will likely vote for him. The media hate him, pundits hate him, and Congress, clearly both Dems and Republicans, hate him too. And this could be a good thing because with Congress against him, there's not a lot of bad things that he could do. If he tries anything funny, there'll be talk of impeachment before you can say Will Robinson. Nicely played, by the way, Susan. I think that if he's elected, he'll have to toe the line pretty stringently and won't be able to do much damage to the country. What say you? The short answer here is I don't know what a Donald Trump presidency will be like. I do know what a Hillary Clinton presidency will be like, and I cannot imagine anything worse than that. Hillary Clinton is all of the social evil of Barack Obama, all of the brainless, mindless theories about, investing $500 million into a solar energy plant. She's in bed with all of this stuff and all of these agendas. Plus, she is not just a narcissist like Obama. She's a thief. And Dinesh D'Souza got it exactly right. He spent a year in prison as a result of criticizing Barack Obama, or 6 months, I guess, in a detention center. And he spent his 6 months talking to criminals, and he said that when you get right down to it, all crime is stealing. It doesn't matter what the crime is. When it all gets down to it, it's taking something that doesn't belong to you. And that the criminals that they knew, that he ran into, universally said, yes, we're caught, and yes, we did something stupid, yes, we were breaking the law, but the big criminals don't get caught because they're the people that make the laws. And they're right, and Dinesh is right. Private property in the United States is the most valuable thing in the world. The total dollar value of American private property, I think Dinesh said, is $71 trillion. It's quite a bit of cash. And if you're a criminally minded person, why not go for the big steal? Then you realize that things like, $300 in campaign contributions is child's play, and being able to direct, $2, $3, $4 billion a year or whatever, even $2, $3, $4 trillion a year is child's play when you think about what you can steal if you're able to confiscate people's private property through coercive laws, presumably covered with the fig leaf of helping the poor. There is, in my mind, nothing more dangerous than this. I refer to it as this iron triangle of Democratic politicians in Washington being reinforced by progressive news media executives in New York who are controlling our information flow, and then reinforced by progressive cultural icons who are making up the pop culture in Hollywood. And you get this one vision of everything, and it all reinforces itself. And Democratic followers, Democratic voters think there's nothing wrong with Hillary Clinton because if there was, the newspapers would have reported it. And the fact that it was just Fox News is even more evidence that this isn't true. So this giant whirlpool of suck, politics in Washington, progressive politics in Washington, progressive news media in New York, progressive pop culture in Hollywood, this has to be broken. And if it's not broken, we're done. And we've survived for 8 years of this guy only because of things like the Tea Party and individual people who'd never been involved in politics before getting out there and, marching the beat. And when you really think about it, across the board, it's been tremendously successful for Republicans in terms of taking over the House, taking over the Senate, number of state houses that we have, number of governors, all the rest of it. But nothing is more important than breaking that up because it is the system. If you're a Democrat, then the Democrats go after Republicans, and they'll spend, how many people did they put on Sarah Palin? 30? So they'll attack Republicans incessantly and trumpet all of their errors incessantly. But they not only will not report on Democrats, they'll actually suppress the news about progressive Democrats. And then all of this is backed up by movies where you see the heroes with these progressive policies, and the villains are businessmen, and they're testing out, pesticides on people in India in order to run up the value of the Krugerrand and all the rest of this nonsense. She's also in favor of flooding the country with immigrants from both South America, Mexico, and Islamic countries because that's a voting bloc. They don't care about what happens to the country. They only care about what happens to themselves. Same as Stalin. Starved what, 8 million people, 20, 30 million people? He didn't starve Joseph Stalin. I think that's the salient point. He didn't starve Joseph Stalin, but he starved 20, 30 million people to make a political point. These people don't care about people. You can't care about people when you're a socialist because you're a collectivist. There are no people when you're a collectivist. There's just the masses. There's the people, but they're not people. They're not individuals. They're not names. One murder is a tragedy. A million murders is a statistic. Couldn't be truer, and that's basically it. So I don't have any idea what a Trump presidency would look like. But those people who say, well, he's just a natural fascist and he's just going to bring, there we go, some movement. Oh my God, it's a caravan. It's like watching gazelles crossing at a dry riverbed or something. Gazelles, it'd rather be a gazelle than a cow. Absolutely. Yes, it could have said antelopes. Oh my God, this never ends. See you later, kids. So yeah, Trump. The idea of Trump bringing, totalitarian fascism to America is just ridiculous. And the reason it's ridiculous is because the second that Donald Trump is elected, we'll have a news media again. We'll just suddenly have a press corps again, and they're going to be watching him like a hawk. And he doesn't have a whole lot of friends in the Congress, so Donald Trump does something impeachable, it's not going to be off the table like it's been for 8 years. And for those people that just say this and just get it out of my system, for those people who see Trump as the destruction of the conservatives and destruction of the Republican Party, if you had to ask me who destroyed the Republican Party, I would give you two names that I have. I think there's no question about it. I think the Republican Party was destroyed as it exists now, taken to this level, and producing Donald Trump and all the rest of it, by Mitch McConnell and John Boehner. I think that's all you need to know. Mitch McConnell and John Boehner are responsible for the Trump phenomenon. They're responsible for everything. They're responsible for the fact that Hillary never got charges brought against her. They're responsible for the fact that Barack Obama's done any number of impeachable things. Mitch McConnell and John Boehner are the reason that this country is in such trouble. It's not the Democrats' jobs to stop the Democrats. It's the Republican job to stop the Democrats. And when you give John Boehner the House of Representatives in 2010, and you give Mitch McConnell the Senate in 2014, and this traitor, all of these traitors continue unabated, absolutely not even slowed down, then why would you believe in some other Republican politician? If you gave them the House to stop Obamacare, and then you gave them the Senate to stop Obamacare and all the rest of it, and nothing happens, why would you think that more of the same would be fine? Of course Trump's understandable. He's very understandable. Looks like my picture froze up there. Not that that's a problem because I still see the green lights. I'm going to probably just refresh this page because it's always good for me to be aware of little problems like, no image. So I'm just looking at my feedback from coming downstream, and I'm just going to refresh this page, and hopefully I'll be talking again. Hopefully it just got a little nicked up. There I go, I'm back. Okay, so Tim Morris, USA, says if Trump destroyed the GOP, then it needed to be destroyed. It absolutely needed to be destroyed. And it needed to be destroyed when John Boehner didn't stop all of these bills. My video's locking up again. I don't know if anybody else is having that problem. It's kind of odd. That's it. That's just it. Let me make sure I get 6 group. I got green bars going out, so I'm just going to assume it's a little hiccup here. So yeah, they're responsible for all this, and I blame them, and I don't blame the people for saying, okay, if we've been fighting this guy for 8 years, and the people that we sent to stop him, not just Boehner and McConnell, but all of the representatives that we sent and all the senators that we sent, if they're not going to stop this guy, what makes us think that more of them would? What makes us think that Jeb Bush would govern any differently than Mitch McConnell or John Boehner? Of course, people reach a state of not just despair, but contempt for the political system, contempt, and well-earned contempt. And so they want the destroyer. So that so here comes the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, who choose the form of your destroyer. And what people want from Donald Trump is they want him to destroy the system. If you ask me whether or not I would like to have a candidate who may do anything, including national single-payer national health care, and destroys the system simply by throwing a monkey wrench into this circle, versus Hillary Clinton, I will take any alternative. It's not just Hillary. It's the fact that Hillary is so corrupt, the Democrats are so corrupt, and this cover that the press and the media provides are so effective that we just saw an hour's worth of testimony from the FBI director listing multiple felonies right in front of everybody's faces, and he just said, well, I guess there's nothing we can do. This kind of corruption is the end of the world, and lawlessness is the end of the country. So I don't see anything that Donald Trump could do, anything that Donald Trump could do that would be worse than this. Nothing. And again, if you're one of those people that thinks he's going to start getting us all dressed in black shirts with armband, the second he starts trying to do that, he'll be impeached, because all of a sudden impeachment will be on the table. When Mitch McConnell said impeachment is off the table for Obama, he said that years ago. Really, Mitch? Years ago you said that impeachment is off the table. What does that mean? Does that mean that if Barack Obama handed the launch codes to the Chinese, the way that Hillary has, for example, or if Barack Obama took carrier strike groups out in the middle of the Atlantic and Pacific and just scuttled them, just had them sunk, would impeachment still be off the table then? What about if Barack Obama decided to run for a third term? And what if he just didn't leave the White House? Would he still be off the table for impeachment? And if you're going to say it's off the table for Barack Obama, if the only constitutional restrictions on presidential authority, namely Congress's threat of impeachment, if you're saying that restraint is off the table, why? Why is it off the table for this president and not off the table for all of the other presidents? I think it's because he's black. And I think Boehner and McConnell are cowards, and they're not very smart. And as I've said, I've sat next to Boehner at a lunch. I was sitting right next to him. Literally, he was in the next seat. Small lunch, 10, 15 people. And he was so proud. Mitch McConnell was about 2009, 10. Mitch McConnell was so proud because the Senate had cut $10 billion from a $4,000 billion budget. And the $10 billion took place over 10 years or something like that. I was so proud about how we're reducing our spending. No, we let all this happen. We let it happen. And by the way, for those of you who happen to be thinking, well, what could they have done differently? I'll tell you what they could have done differently. They could have done this any time during the entire process, but just to look at the Hillary thing. When Hillary Clinton walks away from those charges, then the leader of the House Republicans and the leader of the Senate Republicans, in other words, the majority of both, basically, if it were not Mitch McConnell, if it were me and me, then we would simply get together and we would say, every single member of the Republican Party is going to sit on the steps of the Capitol, and we're going to stand here or sit here until the law is upheld. And if that means no government business happens, then that's probably a good thing. But we're going to be on television every single night, telling them why the government is not working. And we're going to say it's not about politics. We need law, and we need scrutiny as much as the Democrats do, because if we don't have it, we'll fall into the same errors that they do. But if somebody is above the law, and Hillary Clinton is above the law, then it's treason for us to go in there and pretend like we're making the law. If we pretend like we're making the law, we're accessories to this tyranny and this treason. So we're going to stand outside here, and I'm going to be on every news channel every night explaining why, and I'm never going to change my explanation. It's going to be very simple, very clear. We're going to say something like, if the FBI director had said that there was no evidence of any wrongdoing, then okay, it's a political loss for us. But when he gives an hour's worth of testimony listing the felonies that she's committed and then says that we're not pressing charges, no, that's tyranny. That's aristocracy. We're not going to be a part of it. That's how you fight these people. If you have the House of Representatives, and if all bills have to start in the House because of funding, then you simply stop it. You just stop it. Yeah, this Barack Obama was the perfect Trojan horse because so many people are so weak, so emotionally weak, mentally weak, morally weak, that they literally would. You have to ask yourselves, at what point would they stop? Would Boehner allow you to, feel up his teenage daughter if you called him a racist, if he wouldn't let you do it? Where does this stop? At what point do they step up and say no? They're so terrified of being called these names that they're going to call you anyway. David Horowitz has a term for them. I think it's exactly right. It's a gold star Republicans. They want the gold star from the media, and they want to be the cool ones. They want to be the mavericks, and they want to be the ones that get invited to the party, and they want to be the reasonable ones, and they want to be the ones who are seen to be fair. So gold star Republicans look at the 2012 election, and we've got 4 debates, 3 presidential debates and 1 for vice president, and so we'll have extremely liberal announcers, extremely liberal hosts, mediators for these debates in order to show everybody what swell, fair-minded guys we are. They don't think we're swell-minded guys at all. They think we're idiots, and we are. I think Candy Crowley saved Barack Obama's presidency. I've talked about that many times. Okay.